There have been explosive revelations and allegations in the cross-examination of the first state witness, Sergeant Thabo Mosia, in the Senzo Meyiwa murder case. One of the defense lawyers, Advocate Malesela Teffo, says one witness will testify that Kelly Khumalo accidentally shot the Bafana Bafana captain. Teffo further mentioned that Longwe Twala will be implicated. Our reporter Linda Mnisi is following the story for us and joins us live from the court. Linda, it's really been a lot of information and some interesting revelations in court coming out as the defense continues to probe. Talk to us about some of those findings.
Well, Mpo, you'll remember that it comes at the backdrop of that information around whether or not Brigadier Ndlovu will be coming to testify in this particular matter. You'll remember he also did not depose a statement in this matter. This is the same brigadier that called Sergeant Thabo Mosia to the scene. So the only statement that he made was, of course, in the 375 matter. That is the matter where the investigators are basically saying that the people who are in the house should be the ones that are charged. Now, the defense saying that, in fact, he intends on bringing a witness who will basically tell, this is an eyewitness, and Paul will basically tell the court who exactly shot Senzo Meyiwa. Let's take a listen to what he had to say.
I put it to you, Mr. Mosia, that witness, not just witness, eyewitness, will testify that Senzo Robert Meyiwa was allegedly shot by a non-Tanda Kelly Khumalo by mistake, as it is alleged. Do you have a response?
No respondent that, my lord.
So that is, of course, Sergeant Thabo Mosia there talking to, responding, in fact, to what Advocate Malesela Teffo had to say about that particular eyewitness that he intends to bring. But, of course, we saw him shortly after that concluding his cross-examination. Then the representative of accused number 5, Advocate Zandile Mshololo, of course, doing her cross-examination, getting into the intricacies of what exactly happened when Brigadier Ndlovu got to the scene. In fact, he talks about the delays, starting with the delays that took place, before he arrived in that particular crime scene, saying that while the call was for Sergeant Thabo Mosia to come to the crime scene, he, in fact, delayed by going to the police station and ultimately to that particular hospital. But also, ultimately, when he gets to that particular crime scene, what exactly he did, saying that he did not take the DNA swabs, off that particular door. But interestingly, there were people in Port that were outside of the house as well as inside. Let's take a listen to what Advocate Mshololo had to say.
From the crime scene, from the hospital to the crime scene, first time when you arrived there, are there any police officers that you find at the crime scene?
That's correct, my lord.
Where exactly at the crime scene were they?
They were inside the yard. Others were inside the house. Few were inside the house. Others were outside with Brigadier Ndlovu.
So roughly they were scattered around the crime scene?
In the yard, my lord.
And you found other police officers inside the house wherein the incident is alleged to have taken place?
That's correct, my lord.
On that one alone, finding the police officers inside the house wherein the shooting incident took place, does not that mean that there is a possibility, or there was a possibility of interference with the crime scene? by mere fact of finding the members of the SAPS inside the house where the shooting incident took place.
Can you repeat your question lastly? Sorry for
the
that.
question is simply the fact that when you arrived, not only were there police officers within the yard, there were members of the police
in the house.
Literally inside the house.
That's correct, my lord.
And the question she is posing to you is that their presence inside the house where the shooting took place, doesn't that lay the crime scene bare to contamination or interference? Because people other than those who were there when the shooting happened are now also in the house. And people who may come to investigate may find whatever the other police officers left in the house, be it shoe prints, be it whatever forensic evidence that we might obtain.
That can be possible, my lord.
Linda, we've heard a lot about interference, possibilities of contamination since Advocate Malesela Teffo also began his grilling. We also know that as we listened to Advocate Zandile Mshololo, she brought photo 124, which brought some important questions back to Sergeant Mosia, asking him about a spot that he may have missed as an experienced forensic expert, a senior police officer tasked with taking care and looking for clues within that scene.
Absolutely, and you'll remember that it goes back to even the statements that have been made in this particular case. Brigadier Ndlovu making a statement in the 375 case, that is the case where investigators say that the people that should be charged with the murder of Senzo Meyiwa were inside that particular house. But you'll remember yesterday, Thabo Mosia's statement where he did in fact indicate that the delays could have compromised that particular scene. We're hearing more evidence in that respect today when they talk about, of course, the evidence that was gathered and the people that were in that particular scene. And, of course, the number of pictures that were taken when Thabo Mosia came in. He's also asked about whether or not there were still people inside the house when he came back the second time. So it's quite interesting looking at the evidence that has been brought by the defense, trying to poke holes in what Thabo Mosia previously said, that there was no contamination in that particular scene. So he says that that particular spot next to the kitchen counter, he missed it and he did not take pictures. In fact, he took 8 pictures. And then, of course, he left. That following day, he came back. He needed reinforcement because, of how big the crime scene is and the kind of work that would need to go into that particular scene. So we're expecting then that the defense will be going along those lines when we return from lunch.
Very well, Linda Mnisi. Let's leave it there for now as we, of course, continue to bring you more of what will come out of that court, as Linda mentioned, returning for lunch in a short while.